Look, I've said it on the podcast before, I've never been that impressed and I've tried. Do you think we're making grounds on printing aligners directly?
I think the materials need to get better for it. The post processing needs to get better for it. Printing aligners, it's kind of this unicorn, right, in dental 3D printing because it's actually a quite difficult material to engineer for several reasons. An aligner resin has to check a lot of boxes that on their own are difficult to achieve. But when you combine all of those properties together is very, very challenging. So you have to have a material that is perfectly clear, right? You can't have an aligner that's tinted yellow or tinted purple like you can with a splint. You can get away with that a little bit with a splint. You can't get away with that with an aligner. So that right out of the gate is really difficult to achieve. And then you add on top of that, you have to be able to print it consistently and reliably at a very, very small thickness. So 3/10, 5/10 of a millimeter. We're talking about thin objects that you have to be able to print those reliably. And then the final product at that thickness has to be rigid enough to be able to move teeth. So when you take all of these qualities and you try to cram those into one resin, that's really, really difficult to do. I love the idea of printing aligners, and I think we're going to get there. But it's challenging, and I think where we've been in the industry is that it kind of makes more sense to print the model and still do a suck down. And I know
Totally.
that's like heresy coming from a digital dentistry guy, but I also try to stay in touch with reality. And I think what a lot of people have realized is that when it comes to their time, that still kind of makes more sense when you factor in post processing and the challenges of post processing clear aligner materials. For a lot of people, it still makes sense to just print the model.